Good morning, everyone. I welcome you, one and all, the ICPR sponsored periodic lecture series on comparative analysis of social philosophy of Pandit Iyothee Thassar and B.R. Ambedkar. So the purpose is that why we are having a comparative analysis of Pandit Iyothee Thassar and Ambedkar, because there is a one paper which we offered this semester as a soft course, socially engaged Buddhism. So that phrase has been introduced by Vietnam scholar Thich Nhat. People might have heard about that guy. So introducing, he has identified 14 principles. What are the things it discuss Buddhism, how it can apply to the 14 areas. So not only the social aspect, educational aspect, political aspect, women problem. So what are the other aspects also? So in that context, the first leading philosopher comes Pandit Iyothee Thassar after him. Then followed by him, there is a scholar, a Buddhist scholar from Andhra Pradesh. I think he lived in Tamil Nadu, Lakshmanan. Then followed by him, Periyar, then Ambedkar. So the paper discusses all these things. So these two philosophers, they occupy the major role in that syllabus. So that's why we are incorporating, because there is a question, like generally what Shantam I am asking, again and again you people are what Iyothee Thassar, the purpose is that he was the person one who interpreted the religious text, why it has the deep meaning or deep grade or unjust epistemic practices. So how to address? The how to address means through conducting or a lecture about his own approach to the young masses, because the intention is to make a just society or to construct a just society. That is the intention. It's not that because other side people see that all text practices, even the constitution, everything you can based on the all idikasas, pranas, manu, text, whoever. So this thing how you can eradicate, because this place is like we didn't have any kind of like a revolution like French Revolution or like Russia, any other thing. So here we have to address it morally, because the two philosophers, they never encourage or never engage, never introduce or propose to the young masses to have that violent thing to achieve it. Like in Marxism, you will see that the revolutionary always takes that through some kind of like the violent thing that you can achieve. But these philosophers, their approach is that's why I think last year we had that how Iyothee Thassar is a moral philosopher that we had. So now today we are going to have both people's approach, how it's a moral. So how you are going to construct or reconstruct the society in a moral ground. Not only moral ground, there are various aspects this person is going to discuss. So before I am going to introduce him, I welcome our respected father, the head of the Department of SCAD Asian Christian Studies, to honor our resource person, Lakshmanan. Everything geotag, right? Let's take it everything geotag. Now I welcome Mauli Mukherjee to give bouquet. So like the RO thing, RO is certain thing. Hey, you have to take a photo from that. Thank you for that. Thank you, Mukherjee. Now I will introduce the speaker. Yeah, come in.
Professor C. Lakshmanan, former professor at the Madras Institute of Development Studies. It's a globally reputed social science research institute funded by Indian Council of Social Sciences and the MHRD and the government of Tamil Nadu. Professor Lakshmanan studied BA and MA Political Science at Madras Christian College in the year of 1984 to 89, Department of Political Science. Later he did his MPhil and PhD in Center for Political Studies, School of Social Sciences, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. He has been consistently contributing reputed academic journals called the EPW, Economic and the Political Weekly, seminar, newspapers, edited volumes, published by Oxford University Press, Sage Publication, and he was jointly awarded by Tamil Nadu Progressive Writer Association for co-authored book called Untouchability Among the Untouchables, a cast of Kudurai Vanna's Lives and Location 2015. Some his fact-finding reports are cited by the High Court of Madras, and Professor Lakshmanan has been member of many committees, which includes UGC Expert Committee. He has been doctoral committee members at the School of Humanity and Social Science, IIT Madras. External member of ONGC, SC and ST Employees Grievance Committee, and he has been visiting faculty at Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, Delhi University, New Delhi, Hyderabad Central University, and other state university. Besides, he has been invited as a resource person to international conference on law and society, Puerto Rico, USA, Ambedkar International Mission, New Jersey, USA, and Malaysia. He is also national convener of a Dalit Intellectual Collective, which is an inclusive forum engaging with the Dalit epistemology and emancipatory politics. So with this few notes, I welcome our resource person to give his talk on comparative analysis of social philosophy of Iyothee and Ambedkar. Sir, it's a request that though we have the less audience, because the people from BA, it's a first year BA, so they are new to and the second year. So totally we have 30 students. The rest of the students are from other departments. So I hope you people are going to benefit his talk. So I welcome you.
Jai and good morning to one and all. At the outset, I thank the Department of Philosophy, Pondicherry University, and also Indian Council for Philosophical Research, which supports this series of lecture, special lecture in the department, and also my dear students and father and my dear friend Velmurugan for inviting me and also providing an opportunity to share my thoughts on both Baba Saheb Ambedkar and Pandit Iyothee Thassar. Both are very tolerantly scholar and activist. They are not just a mere scholar and writing and producing a knowledge, but also they are intensely engaging with the grassroots people and the movement, and they are the activists as well. Because nowadays activism become a somewhat dirty word. People are not find the time, they engaging with the cell phone and the internet and the email, Instagram, and also laptop, all these things, which are advantage some extent, but also it's a greater disadvantage. Now among us, we are all part and parcel of this process. So talking or providing social philosophy both Baba Saheb Ambedkar and Iyothee Pandit is not an easy task. unlike earlier scholars who have visited and delivered lecture, and they are all intensely engaging and produced books and articles on Baba Saheb Ambedkar and also Iyothee Thassar. Like me, I hardly write. If I write, I have to feel burning sensation, then only my pen will move. But I read intensely, most of it I was a reader. Hope you all got the reading which I circulated.
No, sir, I didn't check.
Okay, I sent the two because wherever I go, I may miss some of the point because I may not be able to deliver all the aspects in a comprehensive way. But it's better, always I suggest, not advise, always I suggest my scholar, friends, student friends, that please engage with text. Because a teacher and a guide will give you a guidance, they will give you some direction. But you yourself engaging with the hard data. So I circulated 3 articles, 2 articles written by Deccan, Dr. Deccan Lenoid, who is a professor of IIT Madras, IIT Delhi. And another one is Surendra Jodka, professor of sociology, Jawaharlal University. This, the first 2 articles is about Iyothee Thassar's writing. Iyothee Thassar, research on Iyothee Thassar. It's very excellently written article and thoroughly academic. So you should read these 2 articles. And the third one I circulated, The Nation and the Village, Gandhi, Nehru, Ambedkar. Surendra Jodka, and it's published in 2002. Okay. And in which he has given us some bibliographic note, bio note of the 3 personalities, and why these 3 personalities I was engaging with the nation building, India's nation building. These 3 personalities is immensely contributed, and these 3 personalities have different viewpoint on how each one looked at what is village, what is a nation. Why this different perspective for these 3 personalities? And he takes from their own social, economic and cultural background. See, we are all conditioned by our own location, our own situation of family, society and politics. Not we think alike. We think our own way in which. Why we think so on and so forth? Because our social location, our surroundings and our peer group, and of course our teachers and parents. Similarly, these 3 personalities have been influenced time and place. That is why they think differently. Okay. So these 3 articles you must read. I will circulate. I asked to circulate because already I have done it. So now, how much time I should
Take 1 hour, sir.
1 hour. Okay. So what I am going to do in this 1 hour, briefly talk about the 2 personality scholar, not entirely or coherently or comprehensively. I will plug some of the major engagement with these 3 personality contributions. Okay, and both Iyothee Thassar was an earlier scholar from Tamil country, Tamil Nadu, South India, and his original name Kantavarai, born in Ooty, and he is a physician. He is a Siddha doctor by professor. and he was able to proficiency in Pali, proficiency in Sanskrit, proficiency in English and Tamil. All 5-6 languages. He was read and write, and also he was well versed in reading palm scripts, because of earlier scriptures, and because he learned by very intensely, because his grandpa Kandappan, his name is called Kandappan, who was preserved what is today we have our own hand, Tirukkural. Tirukkural was preserved by this Kandappan, is a parents of Iyothee Thassar, and he gave this thing to the English scholar Ellis, and Ellis was the first time printed the Tirukkural. So he came from such a wonderful academic and intellectual tradition. What today we are perceiving, or we are viewing, or we have seen a certain community as untouchable and oppressed, and also there all kinds of negative things. But in those days, this society had a wonderful knowledge system, wonderful knowledge, or extensively profound knowledge, intellectual tradition, which are both the Brahmanical culture and also the colonial system have hidden or buried or tried to deny the due respect to the community. So Iyothee Thassar comes from such a background, and he has, first and foremost is, how many of you know a little bit about Hegel?
Most of the people.
Hegel, Friedrich Hegel from Europe, who was one of the foremost scholar of system thinking systematically the history. History is important to understand society and politics and economy. The Hegel was the one who was a philosopher, one of the influential philosophers, even for Marx. Karl Marx is one of the influencers of Hegel. And Hegel is as a system builder in Europe. He understands the society in a logical, rational, and very profound. Similarly, in Tamil society, Iyothee Thassar is trying to understand the society by logical, rational, and profoundly on the structure and the system of the society by history, and which he has taken the Saritram. What is the Indralok Saritram, which is one of the profound way in which he constructed Tamil history. And also he has, since his knowledge was very wide and more, so he has, his knowledge is a Vidai. Knowledge, because the profound idea comes from Vidai and rationality and generosity, ego. So not only when you possess the knowledge, you should spread your knowledge, not keep it yourself. Just the opposite to the Brahmanical tradition, just the opposite to the Brahmanical notion of knowledge. Knowledge and rationality, generosity, and ego, and also sanmarga, path. So how we will reach sanmarga means in a very peaceful, harmonious status. So these all require. And opposite, you have the Brahmanical way of looking at society is irrational, foolish, and violent. Not ego, no generosity. Keep it, possess oneself, not to provide to others. not allow exclusiveness. But Iyothee Thassar's tradition was inclusive. The Tamil tradition was inclusive. Earlier Tamil tradition and the tradition of untouchable people, the original. Because Iyothee Thassar, unlike the later anti-Brahmin politics, Iyothee Thassar is not anti-Brahmin. Iyothee Thassar was anti-Brahminism. One, and also Iyothee Thassar claimed for identity, because everyone should have identity ourselves. The identity which need to be, because what is your identity? In the university you are a student, scholar, and in the society you are a scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC, and so on and so forth, women, gender, so on and so forth. So identity is necessary. Similarly, Iyothee Thassar claimed his identity as a Purva Bauddha, original Buddhist. I think Professor Aloysius might have given you some time, or what Aloysius says, we may not be converted Buddhist, okay, but our practices, everyday practices, knowingly, unknowingly, we practice many of the Buddhist way of life in our everyday living. Particularly the South India. Buddhism flourished in South India. The Professor Lakshmanan, who was a professor in Madras College and principal of Pacheman College, he wrote a Tamil Buddhist, modern Tamil Buddhism, and which was published by none other than Babasaheb Ambedkar. Babasaheb Ambedkar took the script and he was the one who published that book, and book came very late because that time the copies are not available, but the Aloysius reproduces the modern Buddhism. Okay, so Pandit Iyothee Thassar, as I said, is not merely a scholar but also activist. How is activism engaged? Not only mere, he started Oru Paisa Tamilan. Tamilan is a journal. Today's what will we call academic EPW kind of journal. He started in 1890s, and it's run for more than 14 years. This journal was run. In the journal, there was a column separately for women issues, and he was propagating women's right in 1800, late 1800, and the women are openly claiming the right. What today even we could not talk about it. Yes, the Tamilan has carried in such a way that the right to remarriage, right to sexuality, all is a very profound, and because Iyothee Thassar and women's rights are inalienable. One of the scholar, Gajendran Iyothee, who has done a PhD at Columbia University, he has compiled all the Orupaisa Tamilans, and particularly how Iyothee Thassar journal was women's pro-women's rights, and also he supported the women's cause. And later this came. But Iyothee Thassar is a scholar, journalist, activist, and also is a practitioner of Siddha medicine, Siddha medical practices. And Iyothee Thassar was a philosopher in a way. He has created enormous literature, because you know 4 volumes of his writing was compiled by Aloysius, G. Aloysius, and published only in 1996. Almost 100 years, his writing and thoughts are completely hidden because of the later development. One is a colonial development, another one is the emergence of anti-Brahmin politics. The anti-Brahmin politics took most of the ideas and theory from Iyothee Thassar contribution, but failed to acknowledge Iyothee Thassar in a way. Anti-Brahmin politics was plagiarized most of the thought, plagiarized Iyothee Thassar's ideas and philosophy. What is the difference between philosophy and theory? Anyone? What is the difference between philosophy and theory?
I think theory can be verified and then data. Philosophy is a logical conclusion from observations.
Philosophy is universal. It encompasses various aspects. Theory is focused on one particular aspect and explored in a completely detailed way and way. So if you want to understand the theory of justice, John Rawls, it only focuses and provides completely on one aspect of what is justice. But philosophy includes everything, your life, society, way, cultural, everything is talked about in a very idealistic way. It's ideal, more ideal, but theory is more practical. It is a practical. So Iyothee Thassar's philosophy, both in theory and practice, both theory and philosophy, because he was an activist. He wanted the philosophy not merely ideal, it also is practiced during his time and lifetime. And later, of course, now is Iyothee Thassar coming back after 1996. So Iyothee Thassar's ideals are one of the some instances I will give. So how history was manipulated or constructed or falsely constructed. How many of you know Vajinada? It's a little independent extremist group during the independence struggle, and he was killed. He was killed by Ars Durai, who was one of the collector of Tirunelveli. In our textbook, what we have provided is a great independent fighter, freedom fighter, and also he killed Ars Durai because of Ars Durai's horse colonial policy. This is what the history has given to us. But once this Urupaisa Tamalan book, the compiled edition came out, Iyothee Thassar, and where Iyothee Thassar comes out with a completely different fact. What is that fact? Ars Durai is the collector of Tirunelveli. He provided a right to walk in the public road for Dalits, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. And also he provided women for the right thing and the human's right. And he also provided representation in the village panchayat, participating decision making process, which are never been in the history. And also Ars Durai employs the scheduled caste people in his house and the gardening, everything. So this was seen by the Brahmin, that is Vajinada. Vajinada is a hardcore Brahmin and claimed to be the extremist freedom fighter. Tilagar link, Balaganga Tilagar's stream. But Vajinada killed Ars Durai in the train compartment and called this Maniachi. It's a Maniachi station. If you go to Tirunelveli, you see the Maniachi junction where he was killed. Why he killed? Because he is given a right to contest or right to panchayat president, right to be a panchayat member and president, and right to walk on the public road, and right to participate in the decision making process, which are seen as an affront against the Brahmanical system. So he don't like it, and he calls it as a military. Beef eater, fellows who have given a right so much of equal to the Brahmin, which is affront against our culture. Therefore, I think This is not stated by somebody. He has killed and thrown the pamphlet. Because if you familiar with the radical left politics, what they do when they kill somebody or encounter, they throw the pamphlet, why I killed, why I made this act of violence. So Vajanathan threw the pamphlet and killed himself in the same Maniachi station. So this is a fact. But our history completely given us different orientation, different fact. But after, if you read Iyothee Thassar, the things will be completely different. So similarly, there is a person called in one of the very popular English scholar, colonial scholar, who studied Tamil and he became a more Tamil, because he translated Tirukural and Prananur, Sangam literature into Tamil. And he was the one who, against the untouchable, even to go to the church. So he has a Gajendra and Iyothee brought FIR against that person, that the English scholar, which recorded by Iyothee Thassar in his writing, in his journal. So history is a very fundamental, and also the way of life. Buddhist way of life is the most and profound way of justice and democracy. So Iyothee Thassar is propagating Buddhism in the Rayapeta, Chennai, and he founded a Tamil Buddhist society, and he is supported by the Theosophical Society in Madras, and also many other countries. He has travelled to Sri Lanka and many other countries, and also he was why he was propagating Buddhism, because Buddhism only religion or only the way of life which gives you a equality, justice, and the harmony of life. Equality of everyone, not only for the different section of the society, but also equality to women in every stages of life, and equality is practiced. So Iyothee Thassar in a way was a very scholar and also practitioner, and his philosophy is valid even today, and that is why after more than 100 years, Iyothee Thassar come back, and his thought and philosophy is the most relevant. How? Because as I said, Ambedkar was a precursor. Iyothee Thassar is much earlier. When Iyothee Thassar was practicing Buddhism and become a political activist, Baba Ambedkar studying at Columbia University and German and London School of Economics. Later only, because Ambedkar entry to the politics in our country, I think when Ambedkar entered into politics, 1920, early 1920, and he started Empire. Similarly, Ambedkar's background, as I said, that if you read Surendra Jodka's article, if you read Surendra Jodka's article, and also some of the background of Baba Saheb Ambedkar is very essential. Baba Saheb Ambedkar started his career, his life, that I am not going to tell the story, but he has equipped himself. Equipped in the sense, he was, because yesterday also I was interacting with student, I said same thing. He did not jump into politics in an empty hand, and also very rhetorical manner. Whatever Baba Saheb Ambedkar is said, practiced, is a concrete. Baba Saheb Ambedkar equipped with the social science in an international standard, international scholarship. And he come with a complete weapon. That is what weapon is in the sense ideology, philosophical thinking, orientation, and both in terms of knowledge and also in terms of practice. Then he came and he want to, both Ambedkar and Iyothee Thassar want to change the existing unequal and also unjust, unfair social system and practice. Iyothee Thassar confined to Tamil society or South India, but Ambedkar was all over country. Because of his reach, Ambedkar studied in all Western universities. And Ambedkar's thought was very pragmatic. He was completely internalized what his teachers have taught him and practiced. One of the very profound influence by Ambedkar was John Dewey. John Dewey is a teacher of Ambedkar, he is an educationalist. And he was the one who said, social science and humanity is not just for a mere degree or anything, but not only knowing the society, but the social science and the humanity is a medicine for a remedy for the social evils. Whatever the social maladies, whatever the social evils, the social science only can cure if you understand the social science. Whether we do or not, but John Dewey is advocated so how one social scientist should be. A social scientist should be is a doctor, social doctor. What is a medicine? And so medicine is our knowledge, the fair knowledge, democratic knowledge, and justice, social justice, knowledge of social justice, knowledge of democracy, knowledge of equality. And this is where Ambedkar internalized all the ideas and he came and practiced. And he is one of the most ever social science we have produced in the country. He is not mere a lawyer, he is not a mere philosopher. He is one of the foremost social scientists. And because he is nowadays, now the social science has developed very progressively, positively, because earlier social science was compartmentalized. Equal attention in terms of university and colleges, particularly like philosophy and logic and philosophies are, I think in 1991, EPW, how many of you are regularly reading EPW? I don't know, but if not, please read any one or two journals, compulsory, regularly read. And read your own subject and also your allied subject, because it is very important. So that time there is a debate started by Professor Peter D'Souza. Peter D'Souza started a debate written that in social science and the humanities nowadays are diminishing, and the classrooms are not become enthusiastic in studying social science and humanities. And also the liberal content in the debate and discussion in the classrooms are diminishing, and we need to do. So after that, and there are 4 scholars have come, Pandian, Madras and Satish Deshpande, all have done a volume, separate volume, and EPW saying each one taken a different aspect. Partha Chatterjee taken the aspect how particular social science practices are institution, state, how the state supports the social science. Social science was not given adequate fund. Social science research is not given adequate, and the social science department are faculties are not filled adequately or fairly, and research grants are very less. So it's all fact. And Pandian wrote an article about South Indian Social Science Research Institute. How their research institute, what are their produce, and what is the library, how library is being maintained, what is the library, whether the library is up to date, all the volumes which are released and within the country and around, the best, I'm not saying any Tom and Dicky writes, some of the finest scholars writing, whether available in the library or not. For your information, in Jawaharlal University, 1992, Baba Saheb Ambedkar volume was 21 was, that time itself 21 volumes released, but JNU had only 2 volumes in the library. And most of the Dalit writings are novels, and those times Dalit novels are come up, and the Dalit Panthers writings are very, very profound and also immensely valued. But university like JNU did not add so much of text. Even some of our Indian universities, Baba Saheb writings and the writings on social science, particularly Iyothee Thassar's writings are not available in Tamil universities or Tamil Nadu University somewhere. So we have fought, because why I am saying social science require adequate support, and this is about the debate. Then Raju Bhargava wrote another article in EPW saying that nowadays students have lost interest in engaging with the philosophy, engaging with logic, and engaging with theoretical concerns. They all easily go by empirical research. Panchayat Raj institution, women's movement, or the participation of women in Panchayat, participation of this thing, only very easy or empirical research, and not engaging in philosophy. 2 reasons, because one is support is not adequate, and also scope. After doing a PhD in philosophy, what is your scope in the job market? So that is all the reason he analyzed. Followed by Professor Gopal Guru, how egalitarian social science are. One of the brilliant article. Please read how egalitarian social science in India. And he said social science, despite all the aspect which are came out, but social sciences are more costly, more Brahminical. Because social science is not open for open discussion on, particularly on issues of caste, issues of discrimination, issues of injustice, issues of gender and patriarchy. Unless until the classroom is a democratic, unless until we have a free and fair debate and discussion, the mind will not change. Mind, we cannot transcend our past ideologies, past notions. So transcending our notions require ideas, for which idea will be this thing. And that is why Professor Aloysius used to tell, the battlefield is not on the outside. Battlefield is in the classroom. Classrooms are, because as one of the Italian Marxists, Antonio Gramsci says, ideas are the weapon. Philosophies are the weapon. Philosophy, ideas and theories are the weapon. And therefore, Aloysius calls the classrooms are the battleground. And we have been faded, because Gopal Guru said, we have been faded with all false notion, false understanding. But as yesterday again I discussed, if you want to understand the society and politics, even Iyothee Thassar and Ambedkar and the relevance, the 5 important landmarks in the 90s happened. Please mind it, this is a very important. These 5 landmarks are Without these 5 landmarks, there could be more, but these 5 important landmarks is very, very essential. What are those 5 landmarks? 1. Implementation of, first and foremost is the Baba Saheb Ambedkar centenary year, 1990-1991. This centenary year is opened the floodgate of a new thought and accession from the downtrodden and marginalized community, both SC, SC, OBC and other marginalized groups. They have started openly and discussing about what was not discussed and what was not openly contested. Now, Ambedkar centenary year given such a strength and confidence. First. Second one is implementation of Mandal Commission report. 27% of the reservation for OBC in the central government employment. Okay. Before, caste was discussed in a very, very narrowly. SC/ST, reservation, untouchability and violence, atrocities. Not more than that. But Mandal Commission recommendation, classroom become a very intense discussion on caste and patriarchy. And not only classroom but also in the public forum, political parties and social movements. Everywhere caste was a central of discussion. And it opened up many doubts and unlearned so many things after Mandal report. Further, third important landmark was demolition of Babri Masjid in 1990. Demolition of Babri Masjid has opened up a question that the claim of a secular, a claim of a democratic, a claim of a protection of minority, claim of a constitutional rights become a big question mark. So this demolition of Babri Masjid seriously open up a debate on our own existence and our civilizational ethos of secularism. And the fourth one was opening up our economy, deregularization of our economy, privatization, liberalization, privatization and globalization, LPG. So this fourth was completely, why I am saying this, if we want to understand Ambedkar said Indian economy should be a mixed economy. Private industry are required, private property allowed, and also public sector also must. And public sector must be a profit oriented, not no loss, no gain. Public sector must be a profit oriented because those profit being spent on the providing a quality of education, quality of healthcare, quality of support, social security to the people. Therefore, public sector required. But 1991, the opening of our economy, deregularized economy, which has completely changed the role of state become narrow. Role of state become completely a facilitator of trade and commerce, rather than providing a welfare, rather than providing a development, rather than providing a necessary social security for the people. So therefore, this is the landmark is very essential. And finally, the fifth one is the information revolution, information technology, IT technology revolution. Today we have all cell phone, within the fingertip you can get whatever you want. But this IT revolution is positive and also negative. So if this 5 landmark has to be your background, understand Iyothee Thassar and Ambedkar, Baba Saheb Ambedkar, because Baba Saheb Ambedkar said state is a instrument of democratic social transformation. Because Ambedkar, unlike a Marxist, Marxist said state is an instrument of the bourgeois or a ruling class, exploitation of the masses, have-nots. Therefore, withering our state is essential. But Ambedkar said state is essential, it is an instrument of democratic social transformation, not a violent method. Democratic, I underline, democratic method of transformation. Because state is only where we will have a certain rule of law. The modernity created the state. What are the values of modernity? Anyone? Values of modernity. One is equality, democracy, first democracy, secularism, and rule of law, and many other aspects. Rule of law is essential because earlier rule of culture. Rule of culture is based on the religious belief, practices. Because so and so born in a certain community, and therefore he has a privilege over other. Therefore he is determined to take any decision, and you are not allowed to participate in the decision making. So therefore, Ambedkar analysis of state is completely different from the Marxist and other perspectives. Iyothee Thassar also ban on the role of state. State has to be there to support, protect, and provide welfare. Fair, not only treating other in unequal manner. Unequal manner is not be allowed. The state is important, and also state should be ruled by people, not ruled by a hereditary. Appa, Tata, grandpa, papa, and the grandson and granddaughter, like that. This is not a democracy, it's an anti-democracy. And the secularism is very important because secularism in the Indian sense, and again, Prof. Raju Bhargava analyzes secularism differently than other philosophers, other scholars. Secularism generally understood, narrowly understood that it is a separation of religion from politics, or separation of politics and the church, or church and the state. No. Indian context, secularism is principle distant from both. This principle distance is elastic. Whenever requirement, state has to intervene for the benefit of the larger welfare of the society. So that is why the original Indian constitution does not include secular and socialist. Original constitution is not included. It's included in 1977, 47th Amendment. But however, why it is included? Because of the emergence of right-wing and right-wing politics. And they have, they want to engage the politics appeasement, which is the minority appeasement. Protection of minority right is, they call it as appeasement. Protection of demand is called it as a appeasement of demand, appeasement of scheduled caste. No. Because there are certain safeguards in the constitution, which is Baba Saheb Ambedkar, after his learning, because he was the one who understood the society in a multiple way. It's not worked with the binaries. Like Iyothee Thassar. Iyothee Thassar also not work with the binaries. Iyothee Thassar also addressed the multi-layered inequality, unfair system. So therefore, both have engaged in an alter, change, transform the society through democratic process. They are not advocating you should change the system by violence. You change the system by undemocratic method. You change the system with the democratic struggle. You change the system with the ideas, debate and discussion. And likewise, Ambedkar did. Okay. So Ambedkar's important landmark in 1990s. These 5 landmarks is very, very essential in order to understand the entire relevance of the contemporary scholars like Iyothee Thassar and Ambedkar. And also Ambedkar's philosophy was very essential in terms of understanding. I will talk about how Ambedkar is a feminist. How Ambedkar is a feminist, and also practically he was a champion of women's rights and women's empowerment. How many of you know Hindu code bill? The salient, because it's a huge Hindu code bill contained and embodied a lot of things, but I will put it on a very simple and understandable way. 5 salient features in the Hindu code bill. 1, a woman should have a right to decide whether she wants to marry or not. Right to marriage, so first, whether women should have a want to marry or not, she should decide. Not his parents, not his society, not his relative, not his community, or not even by the state. She is alone is right to decide, right to marriage. Okay, your right to marriage, but all marriage is not compatible. Some incompatibility happen. What to do? Don't suffer forever. So right to divorce. Women should have a right to divorce. Third, and okay, after this thing, women should have a right to inheritance property. Because before that, nobody talked about the women's, because women have been seen as a commodity. Even nowadays also, women are treated as a commodity. But women are not commodity. Women are a lively Jeevan. Living Jeevan. They have a heart, they have a feeling, they have a every this thing. So right to divorce, right to property, and right to adopt. Because even wife or a mother cannot adopt a child. Women for so many years, ages, women are not allowed to adopt a child. Now they can, right to adopt. So these 5 important rights are contented with the Hindu code bill. This was rejected by the parliament 1956, but Ambedkar resigned from the Minister of Law and he came out and he said, but all the rights have been separately amended, separate. Sarada Act for dowry, against dowry, and women's property right was amended, and all the right, now right to divorce also is in practice. Fine. So Ambedkar was one of the very finest scholars who have understand the multi-layer or graded inequality. The problem in India is not a binary. Problem in India is a graded, multi-layered problem. He has multi-layered problem for which he has given a beautiful document and excellent document ever the world witnessed or witnessing, that is Indian Constitution. Please kindly read Indian Constitution and keep as one of your text. This is like a Bible, Quran or Gita type. Indian Constitution is our democratic book. It should, everyone in their house, it should be preserved and also read. So Indian Constitution provided, because that is a philosophical output. Ambedkar's philosophy provided the complete document is called Indian Constitution. Not only that, Ambedkar analysis of society, the caste, origin of caste in India, genesis and mechanism. He wrote this essay in Columbia University for a seminar in 1920, and it was presented And he was saying the fundamental problem in India is a caste. And the caste is got a codified rules and regulation and gets sanctioned by the religion. Codified rules and regulation. It's not a principle, whether you can follow or not. But you have to obey. If you disobey the caste rules and regulation, you will be punished. Those punishments are written and executed. Even today, if why these honor killings are happening? It's not arrogant killings. Why caste arrogance killings are happening? Because two adult men and male and female, they like each other, they want to live together. What is the reason? It's Constitution provides the right, but it is not seen as a right, or it's not seen as a this thing. It is seen as a violating the social norm, violating the family rule, violating the structure of the caste. Therefore, annihilate. Tamil Nadu is one of the most highest number of caste arrogant killings happening. So Ambedkar, that is why Ambedkar said right to marriage. Women should decide. You should not decide. Society should not decide. Relatives should not decide. Village should not decide. She as alone. She has every right on her own. Earlier she is not. Similarly, the untouchables, the Dalits have no right to their body. Well, right over the body is essential. That is why if you ask many of our earlier, our grandma or mother, why are you born as a woman? I suffer so much. Self-hatredness. One of the most venomous things in the caste system is a self-hatredness. Why I born in this caste? Why I suffer like this? So Ambedkar told, love yourself. First, love yourself. You should have your pride of your own body. You should have your pride of being you, a man or a woman. You should not disown your body. You should not disown your pride, self. Self was completely denied to the women and also untouchables. Caste is the same side of this. One is untouchability, discrimination, another is patriarchy, male dominance, rejection of the women's right, domination over women, treating women as a commodity, denying their fundamental basic rights. So that is why Ambedkar said caste has to be annihilated. Why caste? Because that essay itself is a huge one, and annihilation of caste as an essay is written for similarly a conference paper. It's supposed to be presented in Punjab, Tat Kota Mandal. They invited, but they sent the paper and they are not agreed to the text. Ask Ambedkar to change here and there because it's offending a certain community. Ambedkar said, see the arrogance of knowledge. I salute. He said, I won't change even a comma or a full stop what I have written. If you wish to publish, I publish. Otherwise, I won't change any single comma or full stop in the paper which I written. Annihilation of caste. Very important text to be engaged. These two, annihilation of caste, origin of caste and annihilation of caste, is very important. And Ambedkar not stopped how to annihilate. Annihilation of caste will require completely a right for individuals. Every individual should have same rights, and every individual should have a fair and equal share in the resources, whether in the family or in the society or the nation. Do we have fair share in the national wealth, national resource? Every section of the society gets a fair share in the national wealth? No. Ambani, Adani gets whatever they want, but the workers and ordinary people not even get the minimum wage, not even get the fair chance, no social security. Okay, no social security, no protection of rights. Therefore, the resource should be fairly distributed. And this annihilation of caste becomes interdining, intermarriage, and also giving up all the notions of thought, and also it advocated Buddhism. Finally, you have to, the destination, in order to reach your fair society, in order to be a fair and democratic, secular and respecting each other, respecting different individual, respecting different society, respecting a man and women, within the family, outside the family, society is essential. It is only possible if we become a Buddhist. Okay. And further, Ambedkar warned how this democracy can be saved. 5 warning. Ambedkar in 1956, he said, warned if the Indian democracy survive, because it started with a very popular the quote, everybody know, I suppose. We are entering into the age of contradiction. At the political, one man, one value, one vote. But at social and economic, we have no equal rights. Economy was completely unfairly distributed. Some of them having hundreds and thousands of acres of land, resource and other wealth. But others are not even a piece of land or even struggle to get 2 meals in a day. Therefore, the economy should be fairly distributed. So, Ambedkar said, nationalize the entire land, nationalize entire water resources, nationalize national resources. Kanimabalam, what is the natural mines. And also have a public sector, establish a public sector. Fine. What are those 5 warnings which saving the democracy or performing democracy should be better? One first foremost warning, there should not be a glaring inequality in economy. Glaring, the word is very, there should not be any glaring inequality in economy. And there should not be any tyranny of majoritarianism. There should not be any tyranny of majoritarianism. Third, there should not be a partiality of treatment. Fourth, there should not be any hero worship or a personality cult. There should not be any hero worship or personality cult. Then there should not be any ill treatment. So these 5 warnings, I will explain one important, because the economy inequalities now is growing high. Rich are becoming richer and poor are becoming poorer. Opportunity, equality of opportunity was sinking. Public sector and public education is completely diminishing. If public sector and public education diminish, who will affect? The people who have money and people who have a resource, they can go abroad, they can go to private university, college and they study. And they can have a job opportunity everywhere. But the poor, unequal and the daily wage laborer, how they survive, how their people benefit. Therefore, there should not be any glaring inequality. Fine. And also there should not be any hero worship. Now people are worshipping prime ministers, president, and also chief minister. And Tamil Nadu is famous for the hero worship and cult. So Baba Sahib Ambedkar said, devotion in religion. Devotion is unquestioning belief, unquestioning royalty. Without questioning, you blindly follow someone. You blindly follow everything without questioning. Therefore, devotion in religion may be lead to salvation. Maybe. If you are devoted to a religion and devoted to particular faith or God, maybe you may be lead to salvation. But devotion in politics, blind faith in politics, certainly road to the destruction and the dictatorship. No democracy. Certainly lead to the dictatorship and destruction of democracy. And there should not be a partiality of treatment. Suppose if you go to a collector office, you also go and also ordinary person who wears a dhoti and come with poor attire. Do the collector office treat them fairly? Or tribal people are treated fairly in the government offices? So there should not be the rule of law. The people who are supposed to perform the duty of rule of law, there should not be a unfair treatment, impartial treatment. So Iyothee also tells the rulers of the day should not be treat people with their attire and people with their what belonging, which society you are belonging. If you are coming from a Dalit background, he should not be treated as a badly, or it should not be prejudice should not be any prejudice. So these are combined. All this thing today is essential because all this now is coming in the age of LPG. Liberalization, privatization, and globalization, and which if you want to understand very nuancedly, please read Deepak Nair's article in EPW. Professor Deepak, you can get it in the net also. Deepak Nair's article on globalization. And what globalization produced? It produced a lot of positive development, no doubt. I said information technology, advantage, all these things are because we can get every information in a fingertip. This advantage. But who will benefit from this advantage? That is the one. And second thing, Deepak Nair said, globalization, privatization produce a lot of positive, and also there are benefit studies, and there are losers and there are winners. Who will win and who will lose? Those who have a land, those who have a education, those who have a resource, cultural resources. Cultural resources means network, caste network, and all the patronage, caste patronage, community patronage. They all have benefit. Those who are not having education, quality of education, we are not possessing a PhD doesn't mean you are qualified. Possessing certain degrees are not enough. You should have a adequate competence for perform the certain duties. Therefore, require a quality of education. So, quality of education. Those who are having quality of education will. Those who are not having quality of education lose. Those who are not having a land, those who are not having a resource, they will lose in the race of globalization, privatization process. Therefore, what is required, our need of our is understand the philosophy of liberalism, democracy, and which all encompass, embodied in these two major stalwarts of scholars, champions of social justice and democracy, and particularly both have believed and practiced and advocated the fair destination. Our destination is to be belief and practice of Buddhism in a much more seriously, and also much more internalized. The religion, because Kanchayale is one of the pioneer book. Everybody will tell Kanchayale immediately why I am not a Hindu. That is why they recall. But Kanchayale's book on Buddha, a god as a political philosopher. Buddha is not a god, he is a political philosopher. That philosophy was produced as so much of positive, so much of progressive, and transcended our notion of inequality, notion of patriarchy. It is the only destination we can achieve our goal and development and fairness to embrace Buddhism and practice. And this both scholars have advocated and practiced. I stop here. If any question and answer and clarification, please welcome it. I'm good at a question and answer rather than giving one way monologue. Dialogue is I always prefer. Please, thank you so much. I said JDM is not a political slogan, it is purely a slogan of let's a light spread. And whenever I say JDM, I am remembering my friend Rohit Vimala. Rohit Vimala, imagine a person going to hang and finish his writing. Let me say last one word, last one time JD. So JD means let the light spread and the darkness wither away. So that is the way. Please, if you have any question, whether my lecture or even any other within the subject display, we can ask. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for a wonderful lecture, comparing both personality. Guys, now it's forum is open for discussion. If people have your questions and doubt, yeah, so open now.
Although a disagreement, there is not necessarily you should accept what I said. You can have an agreement or disagreement. So if both are like there should be both ways. Louder. Yeah. Why Buddhism is disappeared from India and flourishing in other parts of the world, and what are the reasons? So, like Marx, the history of the world is constant war or a constant struggle between haves and have-nots. Okay, capitalist and the worker. This is a history that Marx looked at it. But Professor Ambedkar looked at the history of India. It's a constant fight between Buddhism and the Brahmanism. Okay, so Buddhism was very much flourished in the country during Ashoka time. And later Ashoka time, then there is a change in the dynasty, the ruler, and then the Hindu rulers have taken over the ruins of power, and they have supported extensively to the Hindu religious practice and I believe. And that is the one reason. Because either language or religion, it needs a patronage, state patronage and support. So Buddhism is lost its patronage, and also severe of violence have been infiltrated upon the Buddhists. You will see in Orissa and even in Tamil Nadu, many places you will see the Buddha statue without a head. Hundreds and hundreds or thousands of statues in Kalinga or in Orissa, we find the Buddhist statues without the head. There is chopped off. Even the statues are not tolerated. Even Buddhist statues are not tolerated. And such a violence has been perpetrated on the Buddhists. So that is why one is patronage is lost, and second one is the violence against them. Third one is the colonial power. Because the Hindu religion, what today we see, quote unquote, as a monolithic, all India, pan-Indian religion. No. First of all, Hindu is not a religion. It is a practice of a different this thing. Max Muller have two projects. The colonial power done a very damaging two projects. One is Max Muller's translation of Sanskrit text into English. All the Indikas, Vedas, Puranas, all these things were translated English only the colonial power. Even some of the Brahmins may not know what is in the scripture. Brahmins of pre-colonial is ordinary people. So Brahmins have become more patronized during the colonial power. And also some of the Sola period in South India. So political patronage was there again. And also you will see the Brahmodayam. Brahmodayam means the land was completely given to a Brahmin free of cost. If you read Swami Dharmadeta, right, the textbook is very important textbook. Swami Dharmadeta, the history of Hindu imperialism. The textbook was history of Hindu imperialism. He is a lawyer from Kerala. All over traveled in India. Then he came and wrote in 1942. He wrote this book, History of Hindu Imperialism, and he lists out the way in which patronage of colonial power to the Brahmin. And their Brahminism established all India, pan-India during the colonial time, not in the pre-colonial. So that is why colonial power has greater damage to the culture and society. And also, they said, we came here to loot your resource. We came here to plunder your wealth. We came here not to civilize you. We came here not to reform you. We ruled India 200 years, more than 200 years, not to reform, but to loot and plunder the wealth. That is why Buddhism is left. That is why Buddhism disappeared. And as I said, even before Baba Sahib, Pandit Iyothee Thassar in South India propagating Buddhism, but Baba Sahib all India national leadership, and he has embraced Buddhism in 1956 at Diksha Bhumi. If anyone visited Diksha Bhumi in October on Vijayadashami day, you see minimum 15 lakhs people from child to 85, 90-year-old come their own and pay homage. And remember this wonderful historical day of Buddhist conversion. More than 4 lakh people converted during Baba Sahib Ambedkar at that time, 1956, October. So now it is gaining, and also there is a danger is some of the right-wing politics have accommodated Buddhism. Buddha is a 10th avatar of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna's 10th avatar only Buddha, some misinterpretation or false interpretation also happening. But Buddhism in a way backing. I am the advisory committee of Engaged Buddhist International Society. And Engaged Buddhism is much more nuanced. I will forget to tell you, Ambedkar and Iyothee Thassar, they are not taken Buddhism as a Buddhist, because there is a two Mahayana Buddhism and the Hinayana. And Ambedkar and Iyothee Thassar, they are not taken Buddhism as it is. They reinterpreted, and according to the time and place they have altered. Engaged Buddhism is like a political philosophy, practicing a political philosophy, practicing a political ideology. That is engaged Buddhism. Engaged Buddhism, they consider Buddha as a philosopher, not as a god. And they consider rituals are very minimal in the engaged Buddhism. Rituals are very minimal and ecological friendly, and respecting the fellow human being, and fighting for equality, and fighting against all kinds of injustice and discrimination. Whether it's a race, caste, class, gender, or any other injustice practice, engaged Buddhism will do. And also they friendly with ecology. Where they have an ecological friendly project, economic project. Economic development should be ecological friendly. It should not destroy. Why people of Tamil Nadu and Parandur sitting under strike more than 100 days, where they are going to establish a new airport, the proposed new airport, and which means 5,000 acre of land, more than 5,000 acre of land being acquired, and water bodies are being completely destroyed. And you see how much of ecological damage it will happen. Therefore, the livelihood of the 5,000 village people, 500 village people's livelihood and the land all will be grown. The livelihood and the land will go means people's life become miserable. So the development should be ecological friendly, not destroying the ecology, not destroying the ecosystem. If you establish a huge port in Chennai, near Chennai there is a Ambani port was established, which completely damaging the ecosystem, the species in the sea. People, fishermen will suffering. So that is why this Buddhist, engaged Buddhism is ecological friendly, people's oriented, and also fight against all injustice and supports the democratic and tolerance and respecting each other. That's so these all the reason for Buddhism disappeared in the past, but it's reappearing now. So, yeah.
Just now we are discussing about untouchability and atrocities.
Yeah.
But is religious conversion a solution to get rid of untouchability and atrocities? If it is a solution, like which religion has to be choose, and why Baba Sahib choose the Buddhism? And why Baba Sahib choose the Buddhism? We have so many reasons.
Yeah.
But why Baba Sahib choose? Why he not choose the Islam and Christianity and other religion?
Yeah.
Like we know why Baba Sahib choose the Buddhism, but why he is not choose the Islam and Christianity?
Okay. So, Baba Sahib Ambedkar extensively researched the religion. Because according to Baba Sahib Ambedkar, it's a famous quotation is, what is a religion? What is God? A blind man in a dark room searching for a black cat which is not there. Okay, this is our religion and the God. A blind man searching a black cat in a dark room which is not there. So religion is a completely ideal. It's not a concrete. Religion is ideal, it's not a concrete. Therefore, but we need a certain principle in life. We need to believe certain, if you want to discipline, morality, certain moral and principles are required. Therefore, Babas have chosen the Buddhism and Christianity and Islam. It's all outside India. It came from outside India. Christianity is not born in India, and Islam also not born in India. Buddhism is born and flourished in India, and also Buddhism is not preaching the other world, heavenly world. There is another world, and Buddhism is not allow you to confess. There is no Buddhism. If you have done a mistake, you should have a punishment. You should regret. So Christianity, you will have a confession is there, and if you go to a church and pray and confess, and forgiveness is possible. But in Buddhism, there is no forgiveness. If you done a mistake, your mistake should be you should also see the consequences. One. And Buddhism is not preaching other world. Buddhism is not give you some supernatural power. Buddhism is about existential. What is today? What is this life? This is very important. You enjoy your life in this moment. You have a life of this moment without harming the other, without doing injustice to others. So Buddhism allows existential life. Unlike the Christianity and Islam, they give you other world, heaven, and also Swargam and Naragam. In Buddhism, there is no Swargam, there is no Naragam. So only your life and this world, existential life, is more important. So after extensive research, he done it. And again, another reason could be because in 50s and 40s onwards, there is the conflict of between Islam and other Hindutva, right-wing politics have started. And that is why the appeasement question comes, and all these three projects, Article 370, Uniform Civil Code, and the third one is establishment of Babri and Ram Temple. These are the major agenda of Hindutva politics, and they have achieved almost two. They have achieved, and one is pending. Now they are going to implement the Uniform Civil Code. This is the process, and Ambedkar not supported all this. One. Second thing is, if you are interested, please read Perry Anderson's Indian Ideology. The title of the book is Indian Ideology. Three essay. Perry Anderson, Indian Ideology. Okay. We are all thinking that.
Sorry to interrupt,
Sir,
sir. You didn't answer my first question.
Okay.
Is religious conversion is the solution to get rid of untouchability?
Yeah. We should have a hope. Religious conversion certainly gives you a confidence. Because the Dalits are not Hindu by birth. Both Iyothee Thassar and Ambedkar has established the fact. They are outside the caste system. They are casteless people, casteless collective. Babasaheb Ambedkar and Iyothee Thassar both have established the fact that they are not Hindu by birth. Untouchable community. Today it's a scheduled caste are not the Hindu. But during a national struggle, Gandhi has accommodated Hindu, because it's the fight between Gandhi and Ambedkar 1932 on separate electorate is based on this one. Because Gandhi said the untouchables are part and parcel of Hindu society. Ambedkar said I'm apart. I don't have a nation, I don't have a land, I don't have anything. And how you call me as a Hindu? If I am a Hindu, why I am not allowed to worship? If I am not Hindu, why I am not allowed to enter the temple? If I am a Hindu, treat me as equal. Is there equality is established in the Hindu religious practice or Brahminical practice? No. So untouchability and the caste discrimination, if people have converted to Buddhism, it may not be completely eradicated, but certainly the intention will be less. One. Second is that there could be confidence among the people, and there should be a different way of life will be there. Today, the practice what are all the superstitious practices, which is not in the Buddhist society. I am saying engage. There are within the Buddhism there are several what is called sect, different sect of this, like a Protestant and Catholic, and similarly in Islam also there are different sects, one sect against another. So like this, in Buddhism also there are certain sects are there, but the engaged Buddhism as believes the Buddha as a political philosopher, and they will have a certain principle. Those principles are against discrimination, against untouchability, against any kind of injustice. That is why Ambedkar chose Buddhism as an alternative. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir, but you said religious conversion is a solution. Yes.
No, religious conversion alone not a solution. Religious conversion is not a, because last resort Ambedkar took a religious conversion. Culturally we have to transform ourselves. The culture which we are now living is a Brahminical culture. Culture which we are living is a discriminative culture. Culture we are living in a patriarchal culture. And those culture will be changed, because Buddhism, women have given, bhikkhunis are given an equal right. Women are member of Sangha. Women have participated in the decision making process. Women headed families are there in the Buddhist cultural living. Whereas Hindu religious and Brahminical religious, women are not given equal right. Women are not headed, and women are not in the process of decision making. How many parliamentarians today? 550? How many women members are there? How many ministers are there? How many IAS, IPS officers are there? Why this disparity? Because women, for ages, they are not allowed to touch the textbook. Ages, they are not allowed to allow them to go out. If you read Uma Chakravarti's article, and she will give you the emphatic detail how women are treated inside the house, in the society, outside. One note. So I went to Tirunelveli University for some time, 4 or 5 years back. Same special lecture, and the university was full of women scholars. Almost 75% women students are in the Tirunelveli University. And then the classroom also more women are. It's a good to see, and women in higher education. But I have a doubt. Then it looks very positive. Fine. Then I asked a question. What about your brothers? Because why women are in a government university and social science and humanities? Because it's a less fee, no expenditure, educational expenditure on women. But brothers are studying in medical, or MBA, or engineer, and private institutions. Women are given government education and social science and humanities. So our orientation completely different. Women are not allowed to eat ghee. Women are not allowed to eat good food, healthy food. Leftover food only they are given after all the family members eaten. Those things are changed now. The change is not came overnight. Change has come with a lot of struggle. Please read the life of Pule, Savitribai Pule. Savitribai Pule was the one with a friend of another friend, is a Muslim women. Both have started a school for women in early 1800 in Pune. When she goes to school, she has to carry 2 saris in her bag. Why? Every day. Initially, when she walked to the road, rotten egg, tomato, and sand, and also cow, shit, all this throw into her body. Day, night. And she goes to the school, change the dress, and teach the class. Then come again, while coming, same thing, the same treatment. Then one day, the husband and wife, if you read their exchange of letter between Jyotirao Phule and Savitribai Phule, it's amazing letters. It's a love letter, but completely encompassed with the societal concern. Beautiful letters. It's all available. You are net also available. Jyotirao Phule and Savitribai Phule. So Savitribai Phule, what he did was, one fine day, she took a slipper, caught hold of the fellow who had thrown a rotten egg. He beaten the chapel and become international news in that time. Next day there is no. So women's education is not just came as it is. There are a lot of people sacrifice, struggle and history. Those histories should be told. That is why Iyothee Thassar, when he runs a Kabilan journal, he separate columns for women. And those columns are women remarriage, women's education, women's sexuality, and also many other things which are not even now we are shy to discuss. But we have discussed in the public forum journal. So that is a conversion to Buddhism. It is a completely hope, the alternative way of life and the emancipation, not empowerment. Empowerment is keeping oneself, emancipation in yourself. You are completely emancipate yourself and allow brother along with other social beings.
Is Buddha feminist or what? Because when I study Vinaya Pitaka, there are 227 rules for men, and 311 I think for women. Why this difference of women? And after Buddha enlightenment, he doesn't want to take women before. After some years he takes. Why? Any reason?
Initially, because there is hardly women are in the public space, and Buddha tried for searching for the truth, then he finally enlightened. Then after enlightenment, he got a follower, and the follower made the Sangha. Then women are invited, women are included. Then after that, there is an equal space for women is given in the Buddhist Sangha. And Ananda, one who was a lieutenant or help of Lord Buddha, follower of Lord Buddha, is advocating more and more the women's participation in the Sangha. Okay. So it is later it changed. Buddha feminism, actually the feminist concept is emerged in the late 1800, and the feminism is nothing but, what is feminism? Anyone define feminism in one sentence? Feminism is nothing but radical notion women are a people. Radical notion. They're considering women as a people is a radical notion. That is why this is a definition by, I think, Judith Butler. I forgot the author. Feminism is a radical notion of women are people. Just they are people. That is a, so Buddha considered women as people. He did not consider women as a commodity. He is not considered women as a just a thing. So women equally is considered as a people, co-being, fellow being. Yeah, as I said, the Buddhist also has different sect and see once your religion has become institutionalized and the religion possesses some power, particularly political power, or associated with political power, then certainly the power has embodied itself as a violence. Any power, whether women power or any power, power is embodied itself as a violence. But and the power also has a compassion. Power also has a power also provides you a hope. Power is also bad, but power has this violence. In Sri Lanka, that Buddhism and the religion, because Sri Lanka Buddhism is a national religion, accepted national religion, and the violence was there because of the fight, the other. In Sri Lankan issues mostly may not have, because Sri Lankan incident violence caused because of what is in India we have a reservation policy. Okay, Singalas are more than 80% population. But pre-70, 1970s, 60s, their educational level is not even 15% or 20%. Their participation in the economic activity is very less. And therefore, 1970, Sri Lankan government is introduced a law providing a grace mark and providing opportunity for the singular medium of education. If you study the singular medium of education, your admission is granted and your employment is granted, which is anger the already dominated people, already who are dominating in the education, already who are dominating the economy. So this anger, and that anger turned out to be a violence. Both sides is a violence, and that violence is not justified. But the Buddhism also, that is why I said, any institutionalized power structure, it's inbuilt itself with the violence and the conflict. And not justifying the violence at all. But that is a way, but that sect was different, and engaged Buddhism is not engaging into. In Sri Lanka also there are engaged Buddhists, which are more friendly with the Tamil community, and they are more supportive to Tamil community, particularly those who are living in the upcountry estate. So that's where the Buddhism is. But in Tamil Nadu, Buddhism was vanished because of this reason. Sri Lankan Buddhists are violent, and therefore Tamil Nadu was not supportive of Buddhist activities. Unlike if you go to Andhra Pradesh, if you go to Karnataka, if you go to Maharashtra, if you go to Bihar, the Buddha Gaya. So the state patronage was more. Even the BJP government also supports Buddhism some way, but it incorporates Buddha as one of the avatar. That is contested. But BJP supports Buddhism, there is no doubt about it. So that is the reason. And we should not, one should not approve of violence of a single Buddhist. But that is why power embodied itself to some extent of violence. That one can control, and it should be used, power should be used for a positive note, not in a negative way.
Even violence, the Rohingyas are being persecuted.
Yeah.
They should be the very few Buddhist countries. They should set an example.
Yes, there is even Myanmar, some of this engaged Buddhists are trying to work out this kind of violence. As I said, engaged Buddhism against all kinds of discrimination and violence, and they are practicing, not concentrating on ritual religious practices, more about the political and emancipatory politics. And the religion, because Aloysius' book, one more book, Religion as Emancipatory Identity. Religion as Emancipatory Identity. And Buddhism in Tamil country. This is the title of the book. Very, very pertinent. Very pertinent. It came 1998, but rarely available now. New edition. But it's one of the classic work. Tamil Nadu has a lot of relics, lot of Buddhist sites. Archaeological. Recently, we have travelled all over Tamil Nadu and we found astonishing places. Buddhism flourished in Tamil Nadu like anything. But today, though the Dravidian party say that they are anti-Brahmin and anti-caste, but they have not at all bothered to bring back and support Buddhism because of this particular reason of violence in Sri Lanka. This is the one reason, and also Buddhism has been associated or seen as a religion of untouchables. Mostly it's seen as a religion of untouchables or scheduled caste. That is why Iyothee Thassar claimed, he was not claiming any caste identity. He is not claiming Dalit identity. He is not claiming untouchable identity. Because he said they come from the intellectual tradition. That is 100% true. Therefore he says, I am a Purva Gautam, original Buddhist. Purva Gautam. That is Iyothee Thassar. My identity should be a Purva Gautam. Not a scheduled caste, not a Dalit, not untouchable, not Chandala, all kinds of naming. He says, I am a Purva Gautam. Scheduled caste people, because he said that Tamil and South Indian scheduled caste people are Purva Gautam. But Ambedkar said he is the original. Ambedkar also claims that Dalits are Buddhist. They are not, originally they Buddhist because of the political change, power over change. Then they have been sick. This is a circulation of elite theory, no? Who has sociologist. Circulation of elite theory. One of the very important theory, circulation of elite theory. So when the power, once upon a time, we are all knowledge, Arivu Samooham, knowledge society. That is why he is claiming knowledge Vidai and path, Sanmargam and Eagle. So generosity. If you read a novel, how many read Tamil? How many have to read Tamil? So read a very interesting novel by Jayamohan, Vellayane. It's a white elephant. White elephant is a metaphor. It's a metaphor for a huge ice cube. Okay. This ice cube, because I can go on Chennai, you have a Vivekananda house, and the beach road, you have a Vivekananda. Its old name was, it's called Ice House. American company established a factory, an ice factory. You know what? The Suez, the ice, huge ice, been shipped to Madras port, and from the port this ice cube will be brought to the ice house, put it on small pieces, and minus 10 degree, 20 degree in the room temperature, the Dalits are working in the ice factory. Fine. And this ice are packed in the wooden powder. Well, now it's a fridge and all container has come. Those days, ice should be protected with the wood powder and sent to all over wherever the British colonial masters. For what? They drink wine or they drink whiskey, brandy or rum with the ice cube only. Not like nowadays Thassar customers, open and gulp. So British police officials or government officials, they use the ice cube all over India. This factory was supplying. Okay. So Iyothee Thassar organized the first ever workers' strike in that ice factory. So what I am saying is how our power changes, circulation ability will come. So these are the facts. So you read some of the novels will be very interesting. Yeah. Any other question? International relation. So Ambedkar always supported for democratic system. So he was not he was not supportive of communism. He was not supportive of communism. One reason is that advocating violence, change only through violence. Therefore, Ambedkar was more supportive or more pro-American and pro-European. And so he has established that hardly he written anything on specific on international relation or this thing, but he was very positive of cordial relation with the neighborhood, particularly Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and other countries, Burma, and he was not the antagonistic relation with this thing. The history of Pakistan is a very long story. That is why I said, please read Perry Anderson's Indian Ideology. So one of the classic books. You will find so many truths and also so many factors, factors which are unearthed. Because Perry Anderson, Perry Anderson, who is Perry Anderson? Perry Anderson is a professor of history and editor of a New Left Review journal. It's a very, very internationally reputed journal, New Left Review. And he is a retired professor of history in the University of California. And he was a leading Marxist. He was one of the leading Marxists. So he has done a wonderful contribution, but this book will unearth so many unknown facts. Shall we reveal one fact? We all know, imagine 1947, August 15, we got independent at 12 o'clock. You know, anywhere you read the description, what is that night, the celebration happened? Perry Anderson quotes the Washington Post. And at the midnight of August 14, 1947, Nehru and his colleague sitting in a cross leg in front of a holy fire, and the Brahmin from Tanjavur, special flight brought to Delhi, and chanting a mantra, and the spouses are putting a permanent tilak to the delegates in the evening. And after midnight, 12 o'clock, Nehru stood up. India twisted with the destiny. This is what Indian independence is for. Unquote. It's a very interesting book you could read, and book I refer. And another, contrary to this, when Ambedkar died, he was died in Delhi, and his body has to be brought to supposed to brought to Bombay for a ritual. And Scheduled Caste Federation office bearers went to Nehru and asking Nehru, please provide a aircraft. And Nehru denied. He's a retired the former law minister, architect of Indian Constitution. He died, and the government of India refused to provide a flight service to brought his body to Bombay. And they are not having so much of money to pay. Half of the money they paid, and half of the money they gave in writing, and later they paid. But in 1946, special flight from Brahmin from Kumbhakonam, special flight brought to Delhi, and they are the one chanting mantra in front of the holy fire. Contradiction of history. First one is Very Anderson, second one is Anand Peltunde and Suresh Yamde's Radical Ambedkar book. In this book, they have narrated how Ambedkar treated during his lifetime and later. So 90s, after 90 only, we have people are now raised with embarrassing Ambedkar, positively or negatively. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now I want to, before I invite our Anshika Gupta to give vote of thanks, I will declare that guys, people now we get tea and samosa now, but you have to wait at least around 1 o'clock at 12:50. You will be offered lunch. So we have arranged lunch. Please take it up because 5 people only arranged it. We might that more people will turn up, but so you have to wait at least wait and have it, then we can. Okay, so thank you so much, sir. You are accepting for my invitation, then coming all the way from Chennai. As I know that some people from other department, they did many times try you to invite you other departments to give you a lecture, but the schedule was not fixed. So luckily I got your time and I invited. So thank you for accepting this one. So sir is basically not only academician, he is a good activist. So if you take it in Tamil Nadu, from 90s onwards, whatever that just happen, particularly the caste atrocities, everywhere in the like the committee members in the like report to finding, whether it's a Dharmapuri or this Langavayal, many instances. So if you put it, when we were doing PhD, we made a calendar. Out of the 365 days, you will find it. Each day there are atrocity around in India. So the very it's not a simple thing. Very major level how these people are affected. So we put like some of my friends also used to put each day always. So in that way, I have appreciate your thoughts sharing with our young minds. Thank you so much, sir. Now I invite our Anshika Gupta to give vote of thanks.
Good morning, everyone. It has been such an honor to be a part of this wonderful pre-order lecture. On behalf of our extend my gratitude to his esteemed spokesperson, Professor C. Lakshmanan, for giving lecture on comparative analysis of the social philosophy of Thassar and B.R. Ambedkar. I would also like to thank our father Dr. Jonas, our HOD Dr. Balamadar sir, organizing this event. And the faculty members, Dr. B.R. Shantakumari ma'am, Dr. S. Indira ma'am, Soumya ma'am. Thanks to all the research scholars and students of philosophy department, as well as other departments for being a part of this periodic lecture. We are grateful